Thanks again for staying with us on your ultimate news and current affairs program on television this morning on ITV. As usual, we call it TMI. A few days ago, a young man from Edo North Senatorial District, specifically from Kokoedo, posted an online video where he detailed the shabby job done on a link road in Igara. The young man came out to say he was particularly disappointed and dissatisfied with the quality of job done. He went as far as actually digging up the side of the road to demonstrate the fact that the job was not properly done. Now, he did that video essentially just to show to the world that this job was not properly done. But little did he know that immediately he did that video, it was going to turn things around, so to speak, because immediately that video was uploaded and it went viral. Edo State government, led by the deputy governor, or the government arm, the executive arm of government led by the deputy governor, led a team to Igara and immediately took over that project, and that's attracted a wild applause from all and sundry. But the young man in question wasn't satisfied, because according to him, he had also done on that same day another video of a primary school in that community that has been dilapidated. The roofs blown off, no chairs, no tables, the buildings collapsed. Why didn't the government also take up the responsibility of building that primary school? He expected the same speed and agility displayed in taking over the road project should have been extended to the primary school project. That leads us to our conversations today on TMI as we look at accountability in governance and the impact of social media. I'm joined now in the studio by a civil society activist, is also a politician, former member of the Oredo Legislative Assembly, Comrade Harrison Izeko. Harrison, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, viewers.
We also have with us in the studio civil society activist, the programs officer, Foundation for Good Governance and Social Change, in charge of research and development. I'd like to thank very especially Shedrack Udubai. Shedrack, thank you for coming. Zachary Idris is also a public affairs commentator. He will be joining us shortly on this conversation. But let's give a background to the discussion, gentlemen. Social media, in spite of the seeming challenges with it, because it looks like an unregulated space. It is an unregulated space as far as we know it today. But when certain things happen, you want to appreciate the fact that there's such a platform called social media. Otherwise, certain things won't be attended to. Otherwise, certain things will not be brought to the public domain. What are your perspectives on social media?
Well, I want to thank God, because if not for these recent developments, we will still be living like people live in the jungle. You know, around the late 80s, 90s, things like this were not in existence. So even early 2000. So when issues happen like this, we cannot actually get the full information. And well, it's not controls and the space of information, but the advantage of social media cannot be overemphasized. Like the video we saw, the young man who was doing that at that beginning never knew that by the time he shared that video, the whole world will be attracted to the video. He was able to do the recording from the beginning of the road to the end of the road. It was very clear that the people were doing that job, they were not ready to do anything there. Because I've never seen where you can have a gutter or a culvert in between road. There is no gutter from the beginning, there is no one ending, you just put a culvert there, and you were doing drainage without even rod. The young man was using his hand to pack those things off. And because of that video, you find out that so many attractions, even when I saw it, people were commenting. Even outside this country, people were commenting. To the extent that people are even deep to go and get the the letter of award of that contract.
To know the contractor.
To know the contractor, to know the cost of the project. That tells you that social media is a blessing to this present generation. We also know that they have the disadvantage part of it. But the advantage, in as far as I'm concerned, I think it outrun the disadvantage. Because recently, you found out this issue of NSACs. It was through the same social media we were able to get information about most of the things that happen. We also know that most of the information there might not be correct, but to some extent, they give a clue to what is happening there. We saw people were able to record even when the army were shooting, you understand? And even when this issue of SARS brutalizing Nigerians in the name of want to see your phone, we are able to get some persons who have advantage, who record the scene, and people from that area you can judge. For me, I think it's a blessing to our generation. But for those of us, we also know that whatever we do, in everything we're taking, have a consequence. For this is a blessing. Okay. But if you go the other way around, when you now begin to move into people's privacy without their consent, you should know that it's laborious when you do such thing. Be ready for the consequence. But we must do what is right and balance it. If somebody is recording you when you are doing a public job, and you feel that you are angry, why is the person recording you are doing a bad job? All Nigerians should take example from this young man. Even if it's not our area, even if it's not our business, we should try and make sure that ensure that the right thing is being done. We cannot get to the government, we cannot get to IT all the time, but let's use the social media.
All right, so I'll get to that point because there's something that actually came forth from this video that went viral recently. But let me get your perspectives. Yeah.
The social media, as it has evolved today, is obviously a veritable media, a veritable platform for whereby persons are able to ask questions to these seemingly invisible governments, hold them accountable, and get some form of sustainable change. What I've observed over the years is that the social media, as it has been come to know as a new media, has transformed its audience from being passive readers to now being some form of active contributors in the process. They have evolved from mere consumers of information to now be information creators themselves. And I see this thing play out over and over again in some sets of stages. At first, they now have the capacity to not only consume, but also consume and regurgitate information in such a way that when information goes back into the mainstream media, it is now a reflection of their identity, their interest, their yearnings, aspirations, and other aspects of social expectations. And as such, when this information goes out, beyond that, they are not able to reflect who they are and what they believe in this aspect of the information dissemination. When you take it a step further, they now have the capacity to connect by way of meeting persons of similar ideas and opinions. And the social media at this point now becomes a platform for interpretation, to interfere with persons of similar ideas, whereby opinions are sampled and ideas are being cross-fertilized. And beyond that, they take it a step further. They're now able to mobilize themselves to take action. That is to say, they now have the capacity to move and profile solutions to these seemingly obvious challenges that have bedeviled their rural and domestic environments. When we observe the way and manner this is being handled and these issues are being brought to bear, we begin to see that the social media has taken a very key role in the dissemination of information. One thing I would like to show you is that this whole process has now taken different dimensions. The organogram of dissemination of information is now being fragmented. The person who conceptualizes the ideas or brings this information to public domain or tells this story perhaps does not in itself, among those people who post or repost information, he generates this information. He will just go home and sleep. While the person who believes that this idea resonates with him intrinsically, he shares his worldview, he shares his perspective, he's now able to post, repost, share and comment, giving traction to this information. And the man, the group of persons, the government who takes this, who comes into play to provide solution, may not have partook in this previous exercise. He comes in, engages the vision, and provides solution. And there have been data that have been proven over time that when pieces, because the platform provided by the social media as a space for civil engagement is profound. And it has been shown that when people engage in policy and news by way of comments, offering solutions, alternate ideas, they are being engendered to participate actively in community development and the process of democracy, which organically thrives on participation. So the social media I have come to see is germane, despite its irregularities, despite its drawbacks, which we'll also go ahead to discuss and x-ray. I've come to see that has taken the frontal stage in information dissemination, the way and manner government is being perceived by the people.
Okay. Let me thank Idris Zakari for us joining us on the program. Idris, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, let's get your perspective. I mean, by way of foundation on the influence, the impact of social media in holding government and governors accountable to policies and to programs, using the viral video of Akoko-Edo Road Project as a case study.
That is, it's easy to see that it's no longer business as usual for politicians. Although, you know, politicians in their usual manner have a way of influencing everything, and they're already influencing social media. But on the larger scale, it's no longer business as usual. In the social media space, everybody is a journalist, a qualified one at that.
That's a self-imposed qualification.
Yes,
self-imposed qualification.
And you know, everybody is an expert in their various fields of. In every field, he's a jack of all trade, master of all. You know, it used to be jack of all trade, master of none. So we, in this particular area, you see the way the young man put the video up, analyzed the issues, engaged with the issues, brought out the pros and the cons, showed, for real, you could see it with your bare eyes, that this is low quality project, that you cannot tender anywhere, that cannot pass any test, any integrity test whatsoever. However, you see the way politicians have also hijacked it, because he talked about two major things, and the politicians chose one and left the other, because that other one does not suit their narrative. It is this particular one, the road now, that suits their narrative. The primary school is there also, that is dilapidated in his own community. And I want to commend this young man, because he has shown a man who is at home with his community, who is involved in the development, day-to-day development of his community, and will not take anything less. We should all be like that in our various communities. We should all be like that. We should question government. We should hold government to account. We should check projects. We should ask questions. Because if we leave it to the Odion ways and the elders of the communities, the politicians and the elders, they have a way of meeting. They have a meeting pot. They have a way of coagulating and working together. But those of us who are the ultimate, who are those who will suffer poor projects, are the ones who should be looking more in-depthly now.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's take it from where he stopped. Two projects were highlighted. One, the road project. The other, a school project. There was an immediate effect and alacrity approach to one of the projects, and the other was played down. I mean, what does that mean to you?
Well, let me just say this. You see, I think we should be objective this morning.
Yeah.
First of all, the video we saw first was a video that had to do with the road project.
Yes.
And I'm saying it without fear or favor. And as at the time that video went viral, when the government visited the place, it was after the visit this one came up. Maybe a follow-up from the statement that was made at the point. So the video was not done the same time. The young man first is thinking, his objective as that covert was poorly done, and he had a mindset to put that thing on air. By the time he now begin to discover the effect, the reaction, and the reaction of the government,
yes,
he also wanted to balance it. Maybe perhaps he's also being, maybe have sympathy for political party or the both group. For him to balance it, he went back and tried to record a school within the community that he also feel that is not okay. But there are two different things. This school is not being worked on.
Okay.
We shouldn't divert attention from the main thing. This school is not being worked on. What was the issue? A man came to intervene in the community. A national president in that area, and the project he was doing was poorly done. The people are saying that this contractor must be arrested. That is the point of the government. And the government, because of what he has done, because it's going to create more problem in that area, immediately the state government took over the project. That C4 will take over the project from that place. I don't think they have done anything wrong. If there is a problem in the school that we have seen, I think that by now the government must have seen it, and I believe that action will be taken. to go and make sure that school is being put in the right perspective. If a contractor is handling that school and is also using substandard material, the young man should be kind enough to also do the recording so that the whole world can criticize what they are doing. We shouldn't play politics with everything. What you are seeing now is politics now.
Okay.
They have left the issue and they are bringing politics to the matter. What we are saying is that how on earth a contractor will be doing a culvert without even a road on it, ordinary sand and cement. Even 30 years ago, you can't even do that. So let's not shift attention from the issue. Let us address the issue. Let us know who the contractors are. Let us know how the contract was awarded, how much was actually given to the contractor. What is the cost of that project? What is the length? So that we can actually resolve this issue so that tomorrow others will also do the same thing.
Okay.
I think that is where I stand.
Okay, let me come to you, Shedrack. Do you think that the young man was being clever by half by doing another video? Because like he said, the first video that attracted
It was a standalone video.
was a standalone video, not just a standalone video. It was a video on the road. Yes. That's what came first.
Yes.
Then, a few days later, this other video came out by the same young man, and he said that he did both videos the same day, but that he's surprised that this one attracted immediate attention from government, and this one didn't. So, isn't this one of the challenges with the social media
it's
space?
a challenge because first of all, I want to state that the scenarios are relatively very different. While one is trying to point out some marks of corruption, thievery or misappropriation of resources that has been duly allocated to a project that ought to be carried out to international standard. While the other one is trying to drag attention that this school is relatively bad. Money has not been allocated. There's no issue of corruption and misappropriation of funds. Just like you people should know that this is here and there's something needs to be done.
Okay.
It's in a sorry state.
Okay.
So the two naturally will spark off different emotions from different persons. When people will say, they stole money, let us hold the blessings again. Then I will say, okay, please let the governor come and see what he can do in ameliorating the situation and the dilapidated condition of this school. So first of all, the scenarios are different. While anybody can be a whistleblower, irrespective of whether you are high, low, small, as long as you believe that this thing directly affects you, you are part of this commonwealth and also be able to agitate for the common good, anybody can be. But when you are not drawing attention to the project, it is perceived that stakeholders, the persons who believe that to gain more weight into that issue, equals the job when you're in a group of elderly men. And even the way and manner the video was reported, the tone, you are making it look as if the government had wanted to destroy the school, which wasn't already so. In this kind of video, you want to appear that this thing is really bad. It should be in an appealing tone that will capture emotions of people who say, at least this guy is really making sense. It's different from the way and manner you report a video of thievery or misappropriation of funds or all of those issues. But by and large, you do not direct the social media on what to
put there.
On what will gain traction or not.
Yeah.
It
just happens. It's a happenstance.
Depending on the persons who see things from a perspective, who believe that we can take action on it. So it's not like the guy I can't really fault the guy believing that one went viral and the other did not. But I believe as people who also saw this one also drive sympathy. And whenever projects on schools are being captured, obviously this one will be captured. It's just an issue of the person the senator in question who superintended over the first project was an APC man, and we know that the basic education is in the prerogative of the state government, who is also in PDP, and people are trying to call on the issue. So it's not really so. Because even when that first video came out, the issue of the road poorly done, I saw some known media activists trying to poo-poo on the idea that just so that they have to set up machinery, trying to provide some very weak and I was relatively angry and agitated. What was it? What's your own? What are you driving down? Before the government came in, and our governor, you see the idea. Social media, no matter how good your criticism appear, you will always be persons who will hold opposite or contrary views.
Yeah. All right, Idris. Yes.
I think we should properly situate the issue. Let's take
from your perspective.
Yes. Let's move 5 steps backward.
Okay.
It is a statement of fact that the two videos were done the same day. As a matter of fact, if you watch the video, I watched it from the start to the end, streamed it live. At the end of the video, he said, "Look at what they are doing here. Now, so our primary school be said, I beg, pause the video, maybe they go to primary school." So he went to the primary school the same day. And then he made that video about the primary school. That is not to say that what was done in that road is forgivable. It's an unforgivable offense. As a Catholic, it is a mortal sin. You need to go to confession to be able to be absolved of that kind of sin. It's it's a mortal sin. For you to do that kind of road and hand it over to a community is a mortal sin. But let us backtrack. You see the swift response of the state government to the road, and the school is in the same community. They did not go to the school. I think, in my opinion, that the state government lacks the moral authority to speak on a road of 300 meters, because the state government is the oga patapata of them all when it comes to fake, low and substandard projects. We have said it here more often than not. I can point out some. Ekosodi Road, your station ITV did a report on it. It is tearing down now. The gutters in some of the adjoining streets of Ekosodi Road, a gutter that leads to nowhere.
Yeah, I just want, you know, when you said
it is your report.
No, just when you say the state government is the
yes, the leader when it comes to fake substandard project.
That's a generalistic
I'm
statement.
giving you instances now.
Hold on. That's a generalistic statement which will not be fair. I want us to be a bit more civil in our language, so we can make. I don't want us to get this whole conversation rowdy. You know what I'm talking about?
Civility is speaking the truth,
yes.
the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Half truth is worse than lies.
Okay.
Half truth can kill because it is a truth that it is a lie that looks like a truth.
Okay, Zekeri, stay on course.
The entire truth now
Stay on course.
is that, look at TV Road, for example. When it rains, that's the only Duakari Road state government has done. When it rains, it is, you need your car needs amphibious qualities to be able to navigate on that road. It becomes an aqua. It becomes a river. Look at we have been crying Ubo Lagos Road by Tom Line. Every day when it rains, people swim on that place. No state government has gone to inspect it. We have been talking about, look at Ekosodi Road. They have already left site and the road is breaking. A road that is less than 5 months old, a road that has not been commissioned, is already breaking. Ekosodi Road and the adjoining road, they are watching me now. People there can testify, can attest to this fact. The state government has not gone there. But a 300-meter road being done by the Ministry of Agric, that is superintended by the Ministry of Agric, that has been done by the House of Rep member from Akoko Edo, is the one that state government ran to. I would have wanted, for fairness sake, he that must come to equity must come with clean hands. This is not politics. The state government is the father of the state. The governor is the father of the state. As he has gone to that road, you say, well, we have seen this road, we are going to take it over. Of course, why will you take over a project that is already awarded? The best you can do is to hold the contractor to ransom so that they will do a standard project. You don't go there and take it over. It is not your job. I give you a job, and then someone else wants to arrest you for doing a wrong job for me. I am the one who will hold you to account, that you must do the job properly. It's not my friend, it's not my neighbor. Now, you come, you take over the road. God bless you. Please do it. There are other bad roads in Akoko Edo. Also attend to them. The primary school, they're staring you in the face. The students in that place need to learn. Much more important than the road. Why not even divert the money you want to use to take over a road that has been done by a House of Rep member and use it to do the school? The school will serve the community more. But that is not to say that road, it's anything you can see on TV. Nobody can defend it. It's indefensible. Okay. And it is my honest opinion that the House of Rep member has spoken, the Ministry of Agric and Water Resources has spoken, and in between them, you see that they are all trying to save face. There's no face saving there. Go back there, do the proper project, do it well. Not this one you allocated 45 million to a road and they use 10 million to do it. No, go there and do it properly. Nobody wants to talk about how much was done, the bill of quantity and the rest. The road is condemnable, but the politics of the state government is the state government that brought politics into this thing. Today, the video went viral. Tomorrow, you are in the community to say you want to take over and arrest and disarrest. Whereas here in Benin, you don't have to travel far. Here in Benin, before you get to Ugbowo, you must swim when it rains. When you pass through TV Road, you have to swim. Ekosodi Road is a disaster. It's already getting bad. The road that is 5 months old. Who would have thought? Ekosodi community would have thought that would be done properly. When I saw your report on Ekosodi Road, I wept.
Okay.
Just like Jesus did.
All right. Thank you, Idris Zekeri. If you just joined us, it's TMI Monday. We're looking at accountability and governance and the level of impact that social media can have, so we can make greater development in terms of project execution in the country. Using the viral video on the road that was shortly done in Akoko Edo as a case study. I want to thank our panelists for coming again. Okay, let's get back to Harrison Ezeko. He raised some very fundamental issues, and I'd like you to respond to them. What is the justification of taking over a constituency project that has been shoddily done when those funds that will be deployed in taking over that constituency project could have been deployed to the primary school that a young man also brought to the fore? Isn't that politicization of the issue?
Well, let me comment in this manner. You see, for my friend Zachary, you see, that when I started, I said that the young man who brought this whole issue to the entire world brought in politics. You said the video that you saw, that he even said that he was going to the primary school. There was nothing like that in that video. Everybody had the video. Everybody watched the video. You see, listen, let's not. This is the problem we have in our society today. Because why? People want to defend what is wrong. People want to give edge because it's this person that is doing it. Yes, that issue called for exigency. There is nobody on earth that will see that video that will not take action. If those state government have not taken action, myself, by now I should have been weeping. Why would you sit down? Somebody will just walk to a street, a middle of a street, just put a gutter, no direction. By the time water will enter people's house, you have gone there to create problem. And that is why the state government rushed there and looking at the substandard of that road, that the state, and like you said, you have there's no roads there. They will not allow that thing to just waste away like that. That is why he said, C4 will take over the road. Then meanwhile, they will not put machine to investigate what actually happened. Because the government will find ourselves today. If there is no action, you now say, let us go and investigate. That investigation can even last for another 2 or 3 years. And the people will not make use of that road. So taking action that will take over the job, let the job continue, then we'll go ahead and investigate. If we investigate tomorrow, at the end of the day, they have the contract to reform back the money can be channeled to another area. It shows that they don't have the capacity to actually handle the road. That is the basic truth. Because it's not all projects that will be done on the level of constituency project. They should begin to handle things that they can actually do. Not going into a capital project that you know that you might not have enough resources to do, or maybe the money will be diverted somewhere before it got to the hands of the contractor. This will be left for those who investigated to carry out. But for me, the state government have done nothing wrong. You talk about Ekoso the road, my brother. Ekoso the road is still under construction. The road have not been commissioned.
No, the contractors
I promise I'm on my phone, the one speaking, sorry. This is rainy season. Most of our contractors are leaving the site. The road has not, because if there are issues on that road, then we go back there. They have not even put the last asphalt. You talk about 5 junction, the issue of erosion. I just laugh. The erosion issue in 5 junction, by the special grace of God, the erosion control that was done in last administration. They did a nice job. Whether you do that job in tomorrow, the problem there is that when the water, that particular circle is done, when the water comes to that place, it takes some few minutes, the water will flow away. It's not a permanent thing. When the rain is falling, now they're coming from Toma everywhere, rest in that place. Then before it can be channeled into the cover that was leading to New Lagos Road. So those things are there. It's not new. That erosion problem was not done now. You talk about more Lagos Road. That is a federal road, my brother. And those state government is only making intervention. They're trying to deceive them. No, we shouldn't argue out of context. It's a federal road. You say that those state government have not got to intervene. It's a federal road. That is your federal government. That is a federal government. We are making intervention there. I'm coming now. We are making intervention there. The road that was constructed in Akoko is not a federal road. It is. Excuse me. It's not a federal road. You know, this constituency project that have been in government. When people have gotten funds, when they are looking for what to, they just rush to one place and do something to collect the money. As we speak, NDDC just informed us now that they have over 12,000 abandoned projects in Niger Delta. This is what they do. They just rush there, dig one hole, collect the money, and they abandon it. I have one in my ward. In between roads, if you go up Airport Road, and one you can lead it to a Kenwan Road. Somebody came in between the road. It was grading 300 meters in between the road. He brought granite, and we approached him. He said that is the spot he was given. After that gradient I poured, the guy disappeared. To them, the job had become. This is what they do. What we are trying to bring in is that whether it's APC, whether it's PDP, the right thing should be done. The people should be ready to speak truth to power. Check this project. If the Justin government is doing project that is obtained in my area, I have accosted the contractor. And I cost C4. I went there myself and they called him to order. So it's no issue of whether you go there or this person is going there. The issue of what we are saying is that the right thing should be done.
Okay, Shadrach, let me get you to respond from this direction. Do you think the politics that seems to have been brought to bear on the issue has dwarfed the original intention of the guy who made this video?
The guy wasn't political in any way. He simply aired his grievances. He is a member of that community, and he has a right, the moral obligation, the duty, the civility to hold government to responsible, irrespective of the cadre of government, the layer or level that is engaged in that project. What I want to first of all acknowledge is to commend the Edo State government for its swift response. I cannot take that away, no matter how well you politicize and color the situation. We have seen series of whistleblowing being done at the state and the federal level. And we see that this is not the first time someone is coming out to say project is poorly being done. And it's not the first time we have seen the government act in such a swift manner to arrest situations at the board. If it was to be a federal project, we know how many videos are leaked around the federal social media on how well the federal government has done very poorly on some specific project, and yet not even a word. What we even begin to see is that some people are even being hounded. There's a journalist that was reported from Cross River State who reported the aversion of funds about $500 million. The case is even in ECOWAS court, and the man has been charged about 30 billion. The government is now being asked to pay the man 30 billion naira compensation. What my brother here, Idris Zekaria, said, I believe is an extreme view of the reality. If he believes, I'm challenging him, if he believes that the Ekosodi road where he lives is this bad, let him take his phone and go and make a video of it and put it on social media. Let us all see.
I have a video of it.
Go to my social media page. Why is it not getting traction? Why is it not getting attention? If it is that bad, we cannot take away this issue, no matter how well we say it. This issue of, I know my brother has handled those issues of other projects on road, in TV road and other. This Okubor road, I remember when I was in school in University of Benin, those other dual lanes to the side are state government. They said that the federal government is relatively very slow to action, especially when the roads involved are federal roads. So they came up with an initiative and made those dual carriage lanes on the sides that they said the bus drivers should be using those ones. And when it rains heavily, because of the way Amanada road is being arranged, those auxiliary lanes, they serve as drainage, supporting the mainstream drainage to channel water out of all of those areas. See, if the resources available to government is unlimited, that means the government can do anything and everything, they would have been in a utopia society, would have been in Eldorado, because the government would just say, where are all the schools that are bad, get them done. Where are all the roads that are bad, get them. But the resources are meager. And as such, the government has to be diplomatic in the allocation of resources and where and how, and to put them in good use.
Would it have been better if the government, rather than swiftly taking over the project, right, hold the contractor accountable for those funds? If the projects are not, the project is poorly executed like we have seen, hold the contractor accountable, drag the contractor, take the contractor to court, and then the funds that you're going to deploy to fixing that project, you can channel it to another project, maybe another road, or maybe the school that the young man, maybe the school that the young man also highlighted, like Idris claimed.
The school will be taken care of.
I really love that perspective to it.
Yes.
Why don't we take up the case and engage the person who allotted these resources?
Yes.
For construction of that road?
Yes.
It's a fine one. But let me quickly prove to you that he said firstly that the contractor has been arrested. And you and I know the level of legal jurisprudence in this country. We know how slow and how very disenchanting it can be in bringing a federal lawmaker to book in a country as bastardized as
the federal lawmaker is not the contractor. He only facilitated the project.
We all know how these things are
no, hold on.
They will tell you
he facilitated the project. He didn't award. He didn't award the contract. He's not the contractor. He's not the consultant.
Let's talk like Nigerians. Let's talk like Nigerians. Let's talk like Nigerians.
The bill is really written. We will write 65 million. You will get 35 million, and you go and do the journey. Contractor agrees.
But there's no evidence to that effect now. These are speculations. These are general views. These are general views. General views.
It would have been if money was made. I said I could buy gain public office, and I give you 65 million naira there, but has been said for the commission of that 300 meters road. And I go there and I see that the money is not being put to good use. Something as damaging as such was being done. You don't even tell the road halfway before I come into the issue to be the one to bring them to book. Because there are agencies who are meant to supervise all of this contract.
Okay.
But the fact that it's not being done shows that the corruption is not happening in isolation. It's a collaborative effort.
Okay. All right. Yes, Idris.
Well, my good friends, they look. You cannot begin to shift the goalpost at the middle of the match. Okay? Like I said, and I'm saying it again, before I speak on any issue, I do exhaustive investigation of that issue. And I watched that man's video on his Facebook wall. It's my friend on Facebook. I watched it to the very end when he was going to the primary school. So that's a statement of fact. Some people will cut a portion of it and use it to do their own, to serve their own political purpose. That's their own. While there's an entire length of the video that you need to see where he now went to the primary school. The state government continue to play politics with everything. They get involved in every other person's activity and remove their hands from their own activity. The fight about the return of artifacts is public knowledge.
Yes, but I don't want to go there at all.
I'm not going there. I'm not mentioning anything. But you see the way they are dragging artifacts that belongs to our royal father, whereas they have not been able to even settle their own problem. The hospital, the massive hospital built by the previous administration is there in Sapele Road. It's not being 10% utilized. Several of their projects are littered everywhere. Where is Sobe Farm? Why did they not go there? Sobe Farm that they abandoned along the way.
Okay.
Now let's
stay on course, Idris.
That project was awarded by the Federal Ministry of Agri and Water Resources, and they have spoken on it. I read their statement this morning before I came on here. I read the statement of the Honourable representing Akoko that facilitated that project. And they said the project was still under construction. But whether it is under construction or not under construction, what the eyes can see is that that project is a disgrace. But that is not to give the state government, because it's not a state, you did not award this contract. It is the same federal government, same Ministry of Water Resources, and the same honourable that we hold contractors responsible and hold them to book and make sure that if there is a need to return money, they return money. It's not within the jurisdiction of the state. But you know, when you sabi too much, you go involve yourself for what you know concern.
But this is intervention. And we've always said that government should intervene at several instances.
Government is not. There are levels of government. It's a federal intervention. It's a federal intervention program. You cannot go there and begin to do like the money. Look, it's just pure politics. That is the truth. Okay. It's pure politics. You live in this city. You live in this city. Like I talk about TV Road. When it rains on TV Road, we all pass through this Benin City. For God's sake, let us face it. When it rains in TV Road, the place is flooded, and it's a new project. When it rains, the 5 junction I mentioned, I didn't mention 5 junction, but let's talk about 5 junction. The only thing the state government need to do in 5 junction is to remove sand from the gutter that were built by the previous administration led by Adam Soshomole. They are not interested. They've not done that. They leave it. We swim water every day. All Lagos Road, they say, oh, it is a federal road. Now today we start to see federal road. Is New Lagos Road not a federal road? Was it not built by the state government? Now they left it. When it rains, people will swim water. Is it not Edo people that are swimming water? Is it Buhari that is coming to swim water before Lagos Road? Why can't they deceive gutters? To deceive gutters is difficult. But to go and take over a project because the person is doing it.
But have they been deceiving gutters in the last?
Maybe they just woken up.
No, in the last 2 months. In the last 2 months.
Look, there are a lot of things that the state government needs to do.
Okay.
Ekosoni Road, like I was talking about, how can you build, for example, Bantry Road, for example, how can you build a gutter and the gutter just ends abruptly? Just
all right.
like
I think we need to stay on course because just hold on.
If we are bothered about it, I can take them. Let us go and see.
Just hold on, Idris. I don't want to derail on the thrust of our discussion today.
I have said that road is a disgrace.
On another day, just hold on. We can make a comparative analysis on all of this. But here's the point I want us to focus on. That video done by that young man raised a very fundamental question about the quality of some of our constituency projects and then some of the projects that are going on in communities. Maybe there is a feeling that because this local environment, they are far from the city center, and so the eyes of the public will not be there, so we can just do it anyhow and get away with it. Does this resonate with you that perhaps communities need to take ownership of such projects in holding the contractors accountable to ensure that the project is done to specification?
Well, thank you very much. I will not join issues with my brother Zachary, so let me stay on course.
Stay on course because I want to go alive.
The issue is, until we get to that level where community begin to take ownership, we are going nowhere. You get a stage that when somebody is coming into the community, I want to do a project, the community people will come out and tell them, this project, we want to see the BOQ. This is what we want, and this is the way we want you to do it. So that people will be on ground and we monitor what they are doing. First of all, let me make you understand something, that as a state government, if you are coming from Abuja whether a senator or a member, to come and do intervention in the state. The law is very clear. You are supposed to liaise with the state government. Let them know this is your intervention. This is where you want to do it. And then this is the specification for the state. This is the standard that you will follow. They need to be aware of what you are doing. So that we're not going to be awarding roads that have already been awarded. But what do we see? When this thing comes, because the money that is involved, they don't tell anybody. What you just see overnight, you see them bringing equipment to your community. They are working. Even the people who live in the community don't even know who's doing the job. They don't know the contractor. Until you wake up and you see a signboard in that place. I think we need to now rearrange our mind and do the right thing. The community should take ownership. The community should be aware of what you are doing. The state government should be aware. The local government, what you are doing, they should be aware. So that tomorrow, the local government can say that NDDC is working here, or a Ministry of Agriculture is working here. So everybody will monitor it. When we are working with EU in our program in 2005, MPP6, I was a project officer from my organization, and I work with the European Union. What we do, we have what we call PMC, Project Management Committee. Those PMC is made up of the community people, with the NGO that is working, and of course, representing from the EU. We both monitor the project. So at the end of the day, this project cannot fail. At times, there was even a village where the community leader said they should give them the money, that they will write that the project will be completed. And we said, no, this is what we see. Community, they are on their homes, on their own again. Project coming to your place. They said, give us the money, we will write that the project. So we share the money.
The community
so the community on their own. It happens. Even till tomorrow. We have seen the community where we are doing work at Rasaple Road, where the community took part of the money from the contractor and the road was abandoned. Federal government is telling you that over 12,000 jobs are abandoned by MPDC. And that is why my own view. And those who said that the South have been marginalized, I said no. Because we have had NDDC over the years. Yes. Who are the chairman of NDDC? Is it not the people from Niger Delta? Who are the people from Niger Delta? So why are you blaming the federal government that they have been? They are not marginalized. We are the ones doing it ourselves. Because when the money comes, people don't want to get tired of this issue of money. I don't know where they're taking the money to. They do poor job and they keep the money in their pocket. You do a job that you cannot go to your village tomorrow and people will not receive you. How will that as a friend member go to that village and where they are doing that kind of job and you expect your people to begin to clap for you? So we should all come back home. We'll carry the community along, the state government, the local government, and the NGO, the civil society. Let us come back and do our primary work as an NGO members. When we're in Congos, we monitor government projects. I was among the team that monitored the Osumole project in Edo State. We go there for like 3 weeks, we were giving vehicle, and we came out with our report. The ones that you have not done, when you make it, you have not done, the you need intervention, let them know. Community on their own should go around their villages where they need intervention. You put it in a paper and let the government know. Monitoring is very key. If not, this thing will continue. Thank God for social media. If not for social media, we will never know that this thing is happening. I think it has happened in my world. Somebody in between road, you just pour sand, he said they gave you 200 meters. Pour sand, put granite, the person disappear. Till today. If you know your portraits very well, when you get to Ogbahi, from that place to Oholo, I have been awarded 15 years ago by NDDC. They keep awarding that project every year as we speak. Nothing is being done. If they awarding you see equipment. Before you know it, they will just pour something on the floor there. After some time, when you wake up in the morning, those equipment are no longer there. And they will wait for another budget year.
So
we cannot continue like this. I have written petition. I have, in fact, I will be able to go to the office. They will tell you that the contract was awarded in Abuja. Go to Port Harcourt. It's a cartel. They know themselves. Everybody have collected his own share. It's a cartel. The person you are going to meet there is aware of that project. You have taken his own court. So he will always tell you what you want to hear. And what you know that you will not be able to intervene.
There's no evidence.
No, I'm giving you evidence now. The road is there.
Evidence because you said the person has taken his court.
I said it's a cartel. Okay, it's an assumption. It's an assumption.
When the courts were
no, let me say it's an assumption.
You were not there.
But from their body language, from the way they speak, it is very clear that they understand that they work together.
Okay.
Thank God for my 3 years in the local government.
It's an eye-opener.
I understand the way government runs.
Okay.
The civil servant, they are part of it. Everybody know his own share from that thing you are seeing there.
All right, let me pause you now before you go any further. Dubai. Let's get, because community needs to take ownership. Individuals, we need to have many more of the Lawani guy from Akoko Edo.
Yeah.
We need to have many more like that. And you can be rest assured that, like he mentioned, there are several projects, NDDC, constituency project,
yes, government project.
Yes, federal government
That
project.
is your interest.
They are out there lying fallow. And there's something that struck me. I saw a picture. A senator commissioning an MTN mast, Airtel mast, as his constituency project. We'll talk about that in the concluding part of this. But let me get you on Dubai.
The truth is that in understanding the ropes of politics, the tenets of democracy, and the fundamentals of good governance, I've come to understand that for governance, a democratic governance, to be truly democratic, and also have the capacity to bring home the dividends of good governance, the government has to be accountable and transparent. And just recently, they said beyond accountability and transparency, the government must be participatory. That is, the people, for it to be people-centered, people-oriented, and people-driven, the people have to be engaged. And there is no platform, no system beyond the social media that creates that elaborate platform, a medium whereby citizens can daily engage one-on-one with these invisible government stakeholders in offering alternative ideas by way of commendation, even outright criticism. And that's what has made the social media an numero uno. But also, when you go back to the society and understand the way government is being organized and orchestrated, you will see that the followers themselves are even collaborators of these actions. That is to say, Nigeria has the worst crop of followership, who consistently proper the worst from its leaders. So because the leaders cannot, corruption does not thrive in isolation. And that's what I've come to understand. And in bringing out, in calling these persons to book, we're just so lucky that if you are calling out a whistleblower, a known whistleblower, you take up this duty, you say we should be a Lawan. I'm really very skeptical. There's a lot of cynicism and skepticism trying to be a Lawan because you do not know the way and manner you'll be hounded. You may just be talking about Lao, celebrating him as a hero, he has been able to touchlight government.
That is why balance it so that they will not go
It's a very
ahead.
difficult process. If you are not well grounded or rooted in your community, you can't engage in this activity because the politician or whoever is handling the contract has men on ground. Have you played politics? They will hound you, they will sink you directly. And the social media will not be there to save you at that point in time. Haven't celebrated you. You're not being left alone to face the whips and caprices of these men who want to vilify you. But beyond that, with the way our manner engagement is cropping up on social media, with the level of voices that are vociferous voices that are rising up on a daily basis, it becomes very difficult for us to stifle or guard these voices. And as such, once one voice comes out, you see there's another one coming. And that's why it's making the Nigerian federal government being very skeptical about what is going to happen next. Because the social media has been very pivotal to the fall and rise of many governments in recent times. They've said that more than 50% of the last modern warfare began on social media. Even they pointed out that this Muammar Gaddafi and also the Arab Spring in Tunisia all began from social media, where the citizens and electorate were able to polarize their views, crystallize themselves, connect and mobilize to take action. And that we see a similar trend. The NSAS project was just a test in the litmus paper, it was just a litmus test in the waters. And what we are seeing that this is slowly evolving. In as much as I will consistently want to appeal to the Nigerian people, the community leaders, especially the old, they appear not to be easily attacked. If the old of John or a chief who is known in the society is able to come out in social media and make some claims, it becomes very difficult to disperse such claims. If they're able to draw attention, because they too have some sense of immunity, being an elder in the society. When you give a small boy a phone, a techno phone, he will jump to the street and begin to capture it. He's risking the boy's life. And that is very difficult.
Yeah, and I heard the guy saying, well, he really doesn't care. Yes, at the risk of even losing his life, if this is his contribution to the development of his community, that is okay. Well, could you take it on from there? Ownership by the community, social media.
The truth is, once you get past the level of the talakawas, the Oipulois, it becomes, it seems that you are now part of the gang up, the cabalization to make sure that the society does not grow. The rich people, as much as we complain in Nigeria that this country is hard, I told my friend this morning, I said the rich, it's like there is AC in the streets of Nigeria. You see those bad roads you are talking about, when the rich pass through it in their jeeps, they are living in heaven. It's you, the poor man, that does not have light. The type of generators they have in their house, now, as soon as the light goes up, the generator comes on automatically. So, communities, most times when they bring money, we were having an off-stage discussion yesterday, and you heard somehow in some community where they will bring a project and say, we want to do this project in your community, they will tell you, give us this percentage and do this one. I've been mentioning Ekosodi Road. I'm saying because I graduated from Uniben. Ekosodi Road has been awarded 3 times in my lifetime. 3 good times. And all 3 times they mobilized to sites. That's why you see me crying about this one. In 2005. About, I think 2013, NDDC. 2013, then Esopade. NDDC will wash. Esopade come to do again. And we should let him wash again. State government now are doing that, he should wash. So that when he wash again, the next government will come and do again to still wash. No, now. That is why you see us crying on a daily basis. We must begin to own some of these things. And you cannot own it because it's a cabal. You are not a chief in your community. You are not the elder in your community. You are not the youth leader in your community. You are not the head of one of the notorious cult groups in your community. You are not a politician in your community. Where will you speak from? And when you start talking, some people will even take you and sit down. Now, the young man that we are talking about, it's been stifled. Politicians have taken it over. And on both sides, it's been stifled. Whether you like it or not, that's why you see me crying about the way they rush to Akoko Edo. When you rush, did you call the young man to say, this project, what is your opinion on it? How should it be done? You just went there so that to sell a political narrative. That's my anger with the state government.
Okay.
There are a lot of
and I think that there's something the guy also brought to the table. He said that some of the projects that were executed in that community, he participated in them.
Yes, and he insisted.
He insisted that standards must be followed, and those standards were followed. So how come this project came into being? They didn't know about it until the project has been executed. How come? We don't have that narrative. But just
no, we have. We know the way they do it.
We don't have that narrative.
We know the way they do it.
No, we don't have that narrative here now. We don't have it here now. Yes, and then.
Yes, Etemas.
Yes, the Etemas struck me like a thunderbolt when I saw it. That a National Assembly member allegedly commissioned a mast. They are called base transceiver station, for signals on phones. You receive, you send. That's what they are meant for. And from information available, these projects are normally done by the service providers themselves, the company, right?
Enterprise.
Okay, so I'm thinking in this community, service is very poor, and the man engaged the service providers to say, look, anytime I come home, I want to make call, I want to go on internet, it's difficult. So I think you guys need to bring a mast to my community. That mast came, he facilitated that mast. And by virtue of that, he needs to commission that mast. And he commissioned the mast. Why are you guys shouting? Let me start with you, Harrison. I don't get it.
Well, it's a pity. We live in a very precarious political environment. Anything can go. A sitting senator, because maybe it's your connection to attract a company to come and put mass in your community. You are going in front of that place to go and spend money to commission the mass. What a councillor cannot even do. You see, it's the way they see our people. It is the way they see us. This is not your personal project. You have money for your constituency project. If that is a problem your community have, yes, it's good. You can attract them to come and do it, but you cannot take ownership of what you did not spend your personal fund to do. That is my problem. It's not that you have done what he has done is completely wrong. But for you to now go and be commissioning a project that is not your own. I remember then when we were doing this EU job, I did the project at Iyowa then of their Northeast, their town hall. I didn't know one of the men just used wisdom. Before you know it, they went and carried the local government chairman to come and commission the project. So they just come in. When I walked into the place, there were musicians everywhere, and the man cut tape. I remember we finished as I was leaving the place. My project officer have already cut to them. They brought a query, and I told them I'm not aware. They said I was there. I said, they called me that they were doing when I got away commissioning it, and they have to do the investigation. I'm not aware. It was even somebody who was the PLC chairman who went and meet the chairman at that time, collected money from the chairman. That is what they have done, and the chairman should come and commission. I think then it took 150 to allow the chairman to come and commission 150,000. So this is what you see. If you know that this project is good to commission, why not spend the resources and do it? You want people to see that I have done something, and you have opportunity. You have the money is within your coffer. You cannot do anything. So 3 days ago, a project was commissioned in my ward. It is the vice chairman who brought one NGO from Texas. And I was the one that brought the community. I followed them down. I never posted it on social media. My role was to do the community engagement, organize the community, monitor the project, and the project was finally, there was a water project and it was commissioned. I didn't post it. Even though I saw the woman posting it, it's only my character, I just laugh over it. It is not my project. I only attracted the project. I think Nigerians, politicians on their own, should realize that they should not continue to take our people for granted. Those who live in that community, the leaders who came out to come and join in to commission that project, they are the people that we should be blamed. They are aware that it's not his project. Maybe he must have brainwashed them. But for me, how will they come and sit down there? I'm listening to this person, a senator, telling you that he want to commission a mass being built by an organization, a private company. My brother, it is pathetic. I don't know where we are going to. For me, I just want to, Nigerian politicians should realize that after politics, you will come back home. Nothing lasts forever. Whatever position you find yourself today, one day the end will come. When you finish all these things, will you be able to come back home? That is a question. I think it's a question for everybody. Those of us who work in TV, those of us who work in church, wherever we work. Today I'm happy. I sit with my people every day. They buy me food, they buy me fuel. Because I feel that if I have said I've gone into government, let me go this way. Where will that come back? I think it's a lesson. Let us know that anywhere we find ourselves, let's do the right thing.
All right, take it off from there. Yeah.
When I saw the narrative from social media, I read it deeply. The argument was that the man attracted
the mass
to his village to boost economic and social activities. And as such, it is worth commending. I can't say the man didn't do well, but for him to now proceed to ownership, wanting to commission the project, that shows you how well they slashed governance to pedestrianism. This is not the first time I'm saying it. It has happened in Kogi State, where they gather. I even saw the one where they bought bundles of this truck, this
wheelbarrows.
I saw the one where they donated Indomie cartons.
Called class.
We've seen all manner of empowerment. Empowerment does not have the capacity of putting power on even the life of a man who's already. It's laughable. So when the man came up with this initiative, it shows first of all the lack of education and political orientation on the part of our people, who do not understand the tenets of government and how well to hold these people accountable. What is to expect? What they are to expect from these persons who have gone there to serve them in various capacities. The knowledge is totally absent. Many of them are not perfectly oriented. They don't know what this man can do, and so whatever the man does, he sees to be commendable. And I strongly believe that the social media has helped in this regard. It has been happening over the years. It's not the first time that these issues are being brought to light. But as long as they are constantly being brought to the fore, these anomalies are being brought to the fore, we will begin to see them reduced going forward. Okay. I strongly believe that that's where.
All right, Idris.
But let's take it 5 steps backwards.
You like that? You like that a lot? You like that a lot?
Sometime in 2002, the then President Olusegun Obasanjo attracted MTN to Nigeria. And till tomorrow, when I tell people that his presidency was a disaster, they will tell me, but he brought MTN and you are using MTN in your phone. You remember then we used to buy SIM card for 30,000 naira. A SIM card now that they sell for free at Ring Road, free SIM card. We bought it then 30,000 naira. And people celebrated it. Let's come forward a bit. Just recently, the governor of Benue State commissioned a lot of wheelbarrows to his people to help them in their farming activities. Benue is a farming community, it's a farming state, so he gave them wheelbarrows. I saw somewhere in the North Central where they gave people a male cow and a female cow as empowerment. Somewhere in the Southeast, a male rabbit and a female rabbit. Here in Edo State where I come from, they took it a notch higher. There is a refinery being built by a private organization. The state government is going to inspect it every day. State government there is a power station that's being built by a private organization. The state government goes there to inspect it again, and they even took it a step even higher. They won election premised on those projects. That shows you that our people, they live and thrive on deception, especially politicians. That's all I have to say. As for this senator, it's only between him and his God.
Point of information, the project you mentioned, if we are coming, my brother, let's come with facts. The first, there is a counterpart funding. 700 million was made by the state government. A land was provided, so it's counterpart funding. And the state government cannot go and commission a project when it does not have a role. So please,
the community provided land.
So that's counterpart funding.
My brother, they didn't provide, they pay for it.
You don't want to
or God, they pay for it. Before any company come out put a mask there, they pay for the land. I have a mask in my community, they pay for it. So let's not deceive ourselves. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing.
That I want us to try as much as possible to stay on course.
Is it Dries?
So we can maximize the time that we have. Now, underlining all of this is the question that has been nagging: social media regulation. Should social media be regulated in view of some of these things that we've talked about in the last couple of minutes? Let me begin with you, Harrison.
My brother, I don't want us. You see, if we allow this to see the light of the day, then we want to recolonize ourselves.
Okay.
The only way the common man speak that people can hear is through this social media medium. And if you not allow government, as the Minister for Communication have been emphasizing, to not take full control of the social media space, we are going to, is another 10 steps backward. So what we should be saying is that we on our own, the users of these various platforms, should regulate themselves.
Yeah.
Because if I post information on an individual, then I know that this information is not true, whatever be the consequence, the outcome, I should be ready to face it.
Yeah.
Because if you post an information that is dedicated against somebody else and the person goes to court and you have been able, they can trace it to you, you go and face the penalty. So when they are using it, we should know what we should post. Like what that young man did, you cannot, that one is not a fabricated story. The facts are there. He went there. If you see the young man, the guy did a very nice job. He started from the beginning of the road. He recorded to the end of the road. It was very clear that the road is in between. And he went back to the middle. He started using his hand to remove the cover. That is evidence. So what he was doing is technically sound and it was okay. So the same thing we should do as individuals. We should not allow government again to not begin to regulate the social space. Nobody will be able to speak out. We are even speaking and they don't listen. Today you cannot travel through Abuja Expressway. You can't go. We are crying every people are being kidnapped and nobody is saying anything. It is through social media we even see some of these things. So we should not engage we should not celebrate any government to not tell us that because people are posting what is all right, they will do this. If somebody posts what is all right, they should trace the person. Trace the person. If they can do it, then they arrest the person. So the person will face the penalty. For government to regulate it, for me, I'm saying no is a capital no.
Okay.
Because our house is going to be tied.
All right. Shadrach, yes.
For me,
Yes.
This issue of social media regulation or perhaps Twitter ban, so I want to capture it, is a direct dagger to the heart of the Nigerian democracy. It's a dagger to human rights and also the fundamental rights of self-expression. What are the issues they've raised? They have said that the propaganda that is being peddled in social media has a capacity of disintegrating the Nigerian nation. And beyond that, it has a way or manner of selling out falsehoods to persons against the collective well-being of the Nigerian people. And I've told them many times that a propaganda cannot fly if it's not anchored on reality.
Simple.
A propaganda is an extreme truth. So when people say propaganda is, and funny enough, it is this social media that's not giving Nigerians a sense of belonging. Because when things happen, for example, when I began hearing that there were killings in the Northeast, that there were some major issues that was ongoing, and the Boko Haram has sacked 5 communities, I was quick to say, okay, where do I validate this information? Let me come home and watch the regular media. I turned on to the Nigerian Television Authority, which ordinarily ought to be the bastion of integral news for both the Nigerian government and the Nigerian people. What was I seeing? They were showing, for hours on ending, they were showing these thief dancers from Benue State. And as if that was not enough, they were showing us, after that, they started showing us this Arugungu Fishing Festival from the north. They will shift the issues from the germane, consequential issues to very pedestrian and trivial issues in a way and manner just to deflect the opinions of the public. Beyond that, they came up with the issue of the thing helps to stifle minority views. That in social media, some gladiators have armed themselves with this weapon and they have used it to marginalize some of the impulse of persons who are not so vociferous on social media. And I tell you, the story is either here or there. Because if persons are able to articulate their position, if the Nigerian government is able to sell out the information in a very clean and with verifiable facts, because if issues are being placed in social media and it's still debatable, as to whether this thing actually occurred. The thing doesn't fly. We see this thing occurred over and over again. But because there are some few persons who believe that they don't want to be brought to bad light, even this press media bill that came out, they said it's the most draconian bill to ever be presented before the National Assembly in an attempt to gag the Nigerian media. And when I was thinking it was going to be one very outrageous Fulani, it was a Yoruba man that brought that bill to the House of Assembly. And when it was being brought to media to defend this bill, the man began to yammer incoherently. He spoke from both sides of the mouth, and he was saying, how he rested his opinion is that he had done his own extensive consultation, and he has brought this bill forward, and the law is very clear on the way and manner laws bills have been made into law. And if the Nigerian people, after going through first, second reading and public hearing, do not feel that some of the laws are Japan, they have the collective will of changing it. And I began to wonder, is that the kind of persons, the kind of crop of persons who want to represent us at different level? Another one came out very recently, said they should ban protest, open protest, unlawful protest. And we began to wonder. I was still thinking, it would be an answer if Fulani man wanted to sell. It was only the man from Imo State. And we began to wonder, why is it that the persons who are more enlightened, these cosmopolitan citizens of Southern Nigeria, who ought to be in the forefront of saying, this thing gives us a platform for us to express and collect. See, when things happen in this country and people are disenchanted, the social media gives them a cushion whereby they will ventilate their opinions, and you see friends and family members and relatives come over and say, it's not that bad. What we have in Nigeria, all of us are here. We'll continue to engage the government, we'll continue to just manage it, the country will find ourselves. That in itself calms the nerves and gives this person a sense of reassurance that certainly they might be light at the end of the night. And it also informs people. The Nigerian society is relatively poorly informed. The majority of the Nigerian people, that is one of the most illiterate society we have in the world. Social media has been able to at least push information, shove it down the throat of many persons. And this enlightenment has been very healthy for Nigerian democracy. Okay. I've often said that even the Nigerian electoral process, though I would say the said is failing, but I keep telling them that it's failing forward. Because the level of enlightenment we've seen, where we began from where results, materials were being made at the pool, the original copies are in government house. And when people are out there engaging in voting, the original results, and while it's about 2 o'clock, you are counting, you are sending your results to Abuja. People rose up to the occasion, awareness was being brought forward, that process evolved. We now move forward to, okay, we can't bring fake results now. Let's bring the materials to the polling unit. And some persons come, they show radically into it, and they grab the polling box and they run away. People were not armed, they were not aware. These videos were not coming out. Persons were no longer, because they're not professional ballot box snatchers with 8 years or 12 years experience. People were not, if they catch your face or camera, snatching ballot box, but not just the government, not just the law enforcement, the community will take ownership and handle you and ensure that you are being brought. Because it's not someone from outside who will engage this kind of, it's persons from within. Those enlightenment came out and we saw how social media, the intricate role it has played. Now they're not left and that's okay. Let us begin to pay them money to vote. Social media also came on board, began to touchlight people, changing money in elections. People say, I don't know. And so what will not be people from that collecting money, they're not able to put a bridge, a hook on it, so that because people will not blow the something that this man collected money and this man sold his vote, people now try to desist from it. And just recently, they're not taking it a step further. In the last election, we now saw where people were bringing money, they will collect your money. Because you can no longer put person in the polling unit to be monitoring whether it's it's not very difficult because when you stand there to monitor, they snap your video and you're everywhere. Yeah. They don't know you are now one of the illegalities of democracy. People now collect money, go there, vote for a part of their choice, and collect the money, telling you whoever they vote for, because there's no now miss. All of this were made possible because the secrecy, the veil covering of this person has been brought up, not by mainstream media, but most importantly by social media. And I tell you, as we keep going forward, as our democracy begins to evolve, we'll get to that place where all of these irregularities will be brought to a very, very
Idris, final word on this should be or not to be.
I will defer a bit from my friends.
I expected that.
Too much of everything is bad. You know, water is fantastic. I mean, you should not drink soft drink. You should drink water. But if you drink water sufficiently enough and you keep drinking, your stomach will burst. It's the same thing. Social media is good. A lot of things to commend social media for. But even though for you to say social media is not even regulated now, it's a lie. Social media is already regulated by social media giants. What we want to do is to domesticate what the government wants to do. Not we now. I'm not part of the government. What they want to do is to domesticate the regulation of social media. Look, what social media did to Libya will take Libya the next 100 years, if not 200, to recover from. Same with Yemen. Same with all other states in the Middle East. And these are not the worst of the worst states in the Middle East. There are states that are worse than these states because they are friends with America, who is the social media headquarters of the world. They are allowed to thrive. Saudi Arabia is there where women don't drive cars, but they are allowed to thrive. But Libya is broken completely. Yemen is broken completely. Here in Nigeria, We saw when we started NSAS, it was to end the SARS actually, and we did end SARS. All of us participated. At a time, a narrative was sold on social media, half of Lagos got burnt. And today, when you travel to Lagos, you see the charts of part of the burnt sections of Lagos State. Till tomorrow, there is still a kite that is being flown about the number of persons that were killed in Lagos and elsewhere. Some of these are the pros and the cons of social media. And social media is not total. Social media is not entirely fair. Let me prove it to you. We all participated in the last governorship election, and we know that on both sides, the dramatist personnel had an army of social media followers that were paid and sponsored. So much so that whether you are caught stealing in the church, they will defend you. Till tomorrow. Till tomorrow.
It's difficult to.
Oh no, of course.
I'm not aware of
the
that.
camera will discuss it.
I'm not aware of that. So it's a personal opinion.
Now,
It's a strategy.
a lot of persons,
Yeah.
a lot of persons have a huge gamut of social media followers that are paid for, that are sponsored.
To do the right thing.
No, you cannot. That one becomes the right thing becomes relative,
Right.
because what is right to you might not be right to me.
Absolutely.
Now,
Absolutely.
say when you go on when you go on maybe Instagram, for example, you see people who are richer than Edo State government on Instagram, but on ground they are drinking garri, and this one is pressuring those to go and do some of the hills of society. It's true. It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Somebody is driving a Lexus LX 470 on social media, but is trekking in real life. So there is a life in social media, and there is a life in real life. So we cannot allow this to continue. Today, the principle of Yahooism, prostitution, we saw the way that a girl of 20 stabbed a small girl with big God of 20 stabbed a billionaire to death. That is because more often than not, she would have seen her mates who are in fellow 200 level carrying her of 500,000, 600,000, some of them borrowed to post on social media, and she wants to live that kind of life.
Yeah.
Now, that is not to say
Yeah.
that social media has not had. Look, politics is one aspect.
So you're saying it should be regulated?
No, politics is one aspect, morality is another aspect, then what reality is another aspect. What is the reality? How can you explain? Look, we are talking politics now. Go on, you will see people, twerk videos have highest viewership. I'm sure you have the older generation, you don't know what twerk is. So, no, but it's immoral.
No,
you cannot promote that. You cannot promote that we are Africans. All right, you cannot promote. Even those that brought the social media to us, they don't live like that.
Yeah.
So you cannot. Everybody is big on social media, but small on the ground.
Yeah, in reality.
In reality.
Anyway,
that is why I continue to say that
you have a
marriages
point.
that occur on social media, as good as they are, make sure that you see before you pay.
Of course.
Don't just pay over the social media. Maybe you're in the US and persons in Nigeria.
course,
so
of
those
course.
are the issues. So
Thank
social
you.
media, in a nutshell, there have to be some measure. Of
control regulations.
So
All
measure
right.
of, in fact, they already are doing it.
Yeah, they
You
are.
cannot
There are
post
certain
it.
videos you can post on
Yeah,
YouTube.
you can. There are certain things you can't post
on
on video.
Facebook.
And fact, let me conclude with this. Just the recent ban on Twitter, I supported it vociferously. We saw what the leader of IPOB used Twitter to do to our
All
security.
right, my time is up. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time.
It's true.
It's a delight having these young guys here to ventilate their views because they engage a lot on social media. So we're just appropriate to have them here to have this engagement looking at the issues. I want to thank you, gentlemen, for coming on the program.
Thank you.
It's the TMI Monday. We'll take a short break. We'll be back with you in a moment.